Hello, welcome to the When I Have Spare Time podcast. My name is Frank, and I'm here. So I'm looking at all these K-pop Facebook groups I'm in, and looking at the aftermath of all the arguments I start, which is always fun. It's so easy to trigger a foreign K-pop fan. You just talk about an idol like they're a chick you like in high school or something like that. Like, something as basic as she's hot will trigger someone. But I keep seeing people talk about the generations of K-pop, and like first gen, second gen, third gen. Some are saying fourth gen. Some of these people who are talking like weren't even born during the first gen, and they're talking about K-pop like they're grandmasters. But well, maybe they are. But anyway, I'm not saying I've been a fan since K-pop started, but I've known of it because I've always listened to J-pop. I'm sorry, Japanese music and Korean music, just because I would watch those channels as a kid and stuff. So, I in 1992, like when K-pop quote unquote first started, because that's, as far as I know, that's when the first K-pop group performed on TV. But I wasn't a fan because I didn't even get it. I was just like, okay, whatever. I just thought it was music. I didn't know. But anyway, the point is, I've looked at the generations, and there's only 3 generations. There's people who want to say there's only 3, and I'm not going to name names of groups because like it's got to be by years, and it's based on the trends. It's not based on whatever. But so 1992 through 2003, that's the first generation of K-pop. If your artist falls in there, it's first gen. But then just like generations, the last 2 years of a generation, and like and the first 2 years of the next generation, those kind of like interlap. So it could be either way for groups formed in that 4-year span. It's kind of like how like the decade ends, and it's like you got the 80s, you got the 90s, but it's like technically the 80s didn't end until like 1992 or 93, because there's still some fashion and stuff, and still some pop culture from the 80s and the early 90s, so it's not like it's like a set time, okay? And so second generation for K-pop is 2003 through 2016. Yes, because like the second gen lasted a long ass time, and people are trying to break that down in half, and that's just because like the second gen, like the biggest influences were like around for because like okay, first gen like Boa and like Lee Hori, like those are 2 first gen solo artists, right? Like they're still going on now, but it doesn't mean that like it doesn't mean technically they're still stuck in first gen. They're just from the first gen, but like they've changed with the times too. Like they sound modern, But anyway, I digress. So 2003 to 2016. That's second gen, and like the biggest group from second gen is Shinoe Shide, or Girls' Generation, and like they are one of the biggest influences in the second gen, and like so many groups like after them like were based on them, like because they're the most successful, so they're gonna copy them. So that's why like a group like Red Velvet or like Twice is second gen, because they mimicked Girls' Generation, and they didn't do anything new. Like there's no new trends. I don't know, I'm using the girl bands, but you could do the same with the boy, whatever. But it's like whatever, like Red Velvet is heavily influenced by Girls' Generation, but they're not like trendsetters. They're just Girls' Generation, but their own version of it, if that makes sense. I'm not saying they're trying to be like Girls' Generation, but you can't help but be influenced by your idols, okay? And then third gen is like from 2016 till now. Because third gen, that's when we started having the shifts happen where it's like we don't have positions and groups anymore. That's the only thing that's really changed. But that's the third gen. It's like Blackpink started the third generation for sure. And after Blackpink, like groups that are coming out after Blackpink, are the more and more having no positions. Even like TXT, a boy group, has copied the girl group, which it doesn't matter if they're boys or girls. I'm just saying they've copied Blackpink, and they have a positionless group. So that's like in like a Card is a third gen group, but they're a co-ed group. The only co-ed group I know of is Sharp, and they're a first gen group. But it's not like Card copied them. It's just they don't have a lot of mixed groups. So I don't know what the point is. But anyway, so once again, there's only 3 generations, and we're gonna go by from 92 to 2003. Then second gen is 2003 to 2016, and then third gen is 2016 till now. And the beginning and end of each generation, there's like the 4-year gap where a group in that gap can go either way because they're still influenced by the old, but maybe starting something new. And hopefully that will end a lot of bullshit arguments in these groups. Actually, no, because no one listens, and no one listens to me anyway. Like when I talk in these groups, no one gives a rat's ass what I have to say, but I don't care. But like, I never get triggered over someone going like the generation. I just go, no, you're wrong. That's it. Because as a musician, I at least do see musicians hear music differently, and that's the problem too. See, fans just I don't know what they hear because it's like as a musician, I don't know, like it's hard to explain just music. It's like. Think of what you do really well. So let's say if you're an artist, like you draw really well. Let's say you're a dancer. Let's say like you're. I mean, it doesn't have to be art based. So you could be like, I don't know, like a really good athlete. If you're really good at something, you experience it in a different way. Like you experience it in a technical way. It's almost like the enjoyment is taken out of something that you're really good at because you're so good at it, you can tell when it's done badly or you can tell when it's done differently. Like you become like an expert in it. So I'm sure a seasoned actor, if they saw me act, they'd be like, oh my god, it's horrible. Like, you deliver your lines horribly. But then someone who has no acting experience, whatever, and sees me in a TV commercial, like, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's doing better than I would do. Okay, that's an example. Like, like you're watching a football game, like you're just a couch potato. So it's like you're like, oh wow, that's amazing. Like what I don't know whatever this person did, he threw a football 10 yards. But then like a person who like maybe played high school football or was like dabbled in college sports would be like, oh no, that he has bad technique or like no, she's whatever. Yeah, it's just different. Like when you're experienced in like the subject. So when it comes to the K-pop generations, I take a musician's opinion over a non-musician's opinion, or anyone involved in the arts, like because like dancing is a big part of K-pop. Like a person who knows how to dance really well, I would take their opinion on the K-pop generation because like the dancing is different too. Like everything slowly changes, but it's the people who know about it who are quote unquote experts. Someone who has dedicated time to this subject, they can take out the emotion and just be like, that's the cultural change, like that movement right there. There's always a cultural change, and that's what you have to base a generation on. It's not a set amount of years, because like the first gen, you have it like 9 years, but the second gen, that's like 13 years. Because it's nothing set. Like trends, like some trends are like a flash in the pan. Some trends last for years, so. That's what you have to base it on. Hopefully, these K-pop facts have cleared up some of these blurry opinions.